Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to be providing a long-term market update for Hedera Hashgraph. We're going to talk about this big reclaim here on the weekly chart coming back above the level of resistance right around 5.5 cents. That was the previous support we saw during the summer months of 2022, where we basically had that breakdown in November. Ultimately, we didn't see too much continuation and follow through of that bearish move, and rather we have seen that reclaim over the last few weeks. We've also reclaimed the 20-week simple moving average, which is the red line on this chart, which has been pretty strong resistance throughout this entire bear market. So we'll talk about this big weekly close as well as HBAR's performance against Bitcoin by taking a look at the HBAR BTC ratio, which has also reclaimed a pretty key range and has come back within this general zone of consolidation that we've seen for the past few months. So if you guys enjoyed the content, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Also, by the way, I will leave a link to my Twitter page in the description below. Feel free to go ahead and check that out as well. I am fairly active over there with crypto content. So for Hedera, we have seen this level right around 5.5 cents act as a huge level of support and resistance over the years, with the first real interaction on this zone back here in 2020. In early 2020, we saw this act as resistance several times, the rejections in February and March leading HBAR back down to come back down to the range lows. And then we also saw resistance here in May, and then lastly in August. And then eventually we did see that breakout in early 2021, where HBAR really just went on to new all-time highs on this very impressive rally. This was also support during the summer months of 2022. We basically held that for months and months and months until the eventual breakdown that we saw in November, mainly led by the FTX crash and Bitcoin and Ethereum making lower lows. But once again, we have seen that reclaim. We've broken back within this zone. And ultimately, this looks like a pretty big fake out to which we didn't see any progression to the downside. Bears were unable to flip this zone into resistance. And given that strength that we have seen over the last few weeks, given the reclaim of not only that level, but also the 20-week simple moving average, I would expect this to be a fairly bullish sign moving forward into the next few months. Yes, we are a little bit extended here in the short term. And what I mean by that is from the lows, we're really up around 120% to that high in just a matter of 3 weeks. So that's a very unsustainable move, in my opinion. In the short term, I think we should see some sort of correction, maybe some consolidation as Bitcoin potentially retest 21K or 22K. But ultimately, I do see this as a positive longer term sign. And I think the focus into the next few months is going to be searching for some sort of higher low, whether that comes on a eventual retest of that 5.5 cent level as support, and then we can build off from there. Or if we were to have a deeper low or even a double bottom coming back down to retest this, in either scenario, I think it would be constructive to see that higher low start to form, or a double bottom where we would no longer be looking to this structure of lower highs and lower lows. And on top of that, we also have broken above the weekly moving averages. So that's no longer going to be downward sloping resistance. We're no longer going to see that level of supply average down week over week. So that's in general a lot of positive signs here on the weekly chart. But again, in that short term, I do think we are extended with this pretty unsustainable move. A lot of other altcoins are showing similar signs, and I do expect at some point we will see a correction or some consolidation. But taking a look at that longer term chart, we have made a higher high. We've broken above some key levels of resistance, and just in general, a lot of constructive things starting to play out on this weekly chart. So I also do want to talk about the HBAR BTC ratio, because I think this is going to be very important to paying attention to into, say, the next few months, because it gives us a great idea of the opportunity cost of holding HBAR, which is essentially if you have money invested in Hedera Hashgraph, those dollars are not being invested in Bitcoin. So you do want to see the risk working in your favor, because altcoins do tend to take on higher risks. And with HBAR, we've really just been in this longer term range with the support right around 250 Satoshis, the resistance around 370 Satoshis. And then again, in that December timeframe, we saw the deviation below the range. And again, we have reclaimed that over the last few weeks. So at this point, it's going to be very important to see if we can continue to hold above the range lows at 260 Satoshis. So if we were to have an extended leg down where HBAR continues to underperform Bitcoin, look for some support and some demands to be held in that region. And if we can bounce off this, that would be a positive sign where we would look to the range highs as a target, again around 370 Satoshis. If we're unable to hold that on some sort of retest, I think it's very unlikely that we would see two deviations below this range. And that would basically mean that we would have a confirmed breakdown at that point, and we would start to target these lows from December, and then eventually some support levels from back here in 2020, that bull run where we could eventually look for some support to start to step in. But again, I do think that it looks positive that we have reclaimed the range lows very similar to this USD pair with a deviation, which tells us that the bears were just unable to continue this progress, unable to flip this into resistance, and price did not want to accept below that level. So the breakout is very significant. So at this point, if we come down to retest either this level at 5.6 cents on the USD pair or the level right around 260 Satoshis on the Bitcoin pair, look to see if we can hold that as support and not have that second attempt to break down. So I hope you guys did enjoy the content and the analysis. By the way, make sure to check out my Twitter page. I'll leave a link to that in the description below. As always, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.